Coming up on Valley News Live at 10, a family's agonizing day in court as sentencing turns into something else.
Minnesota officials say blame planning, not green energy, for the power catastrophe in Texas.
Plus, the man who is on a beer-only diet for Lent. Valley News Live at 10 starts right now.
This is Valley News Live at 10.
How is that justice for Destiny? Like, how is what he's doing right now justice for Destiny?
The mother of a murdered Moorhead teenager is speaking out in anger and frustration tonight after the man accused of killing her daughter withdrew his guilty plea and now wants to go to trial. 27-year-old Ethan Broad pleaded guilty last month to second-degree intentional murder, admitting that he stabbed 19-year-old Destiny Averys in the throat, dismembered her body, and threw it in the trash.
Today, he was supposed to be sentenced, instead telling the judge he changed his mind. Destiny's mom calling it the furthest thing from justice. Afterwards, she spoke only with our crime and safety reporter, Bailey Hurley. It's a story you'll only see on Valley News Live.
I don't understand how he could have gotten away with that. Like, I really don't. How can you sit there in minutes before you're supposed to be sentenced, be like, oh, I want to take my plea back?
Blindsided. That's how Destiny Averys' family and the state of Minnesota felt this afternoon. As Ethan Broad's defense attorney stated, Broad was not going forward with his sentencing and instead would be taking back his January plea.
He has no remorse for what he did. And for him to pull this.
And despite objections from the prosecution, closure for Destiny's family and friends has been delayed.
I'm just ready for it to be done so I can actually, mourn my daughter.
As of right now, Broad's guilty plea is still on the table and will be until Broad's attorneys file a motion to withdraw it, which then must be granted by a judge, something the state of Minnesota is going to fight tooth and nail.
He is going to drag it out as far as he possibly can. He is going to take it until the very end because he does not want to go to prison.
Doreen says the last thing she wants is to go to trial, but says if that's what it takes to get her daughter's killer behind bars longer, she'll do what it takes, saying the more time Ethan Broad is in prison, the happier she is. Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
Broad will be back in court the end of March, where a date will be set for his trial or he will be sentenced to prison. Meanwhile, a co-defendant, Andrea Payne, is still slated to go on trial in early April for the role police say she played in helping Broad for weeks cover up the murder.
A 30-year-old woman was arrested this evening after a hit-and-run crash involving a car and a pedestrian. It happened just before 6 tonight in the 1700 block of 41st Avenue South in Moorhead. Several people called police, but when they arrived, the vehicle was gone. It was spotted a short distance away, and the driver, Abby Rose McKenna of Moorhead, was arrested and taken to the Clay County Jail. Police say the victim was taken to a hospital with injuries that are not life-threatening. It's expected McKenna will be charged with third-degree DWI under the influence of alcohol and second-degree test refusal.
We often talk about the whistleblower hotline here. Well, a reminder, it's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call the number on your screen, 701-237-6576, and leave your tip. We'll do our best to get to the bottom of it.
State health officials have launched a new tool to help Minnesotans get vaccinated against COVID-19. The health department has done a lot of troubleshooting for the vaccine sign-up process since they opened up vaccines to educators and seniors last month. Vaccine Connector helps Minnesotans find out when, where, and how to get a COVID-19 vaccine. Once you fill out a form online, you should get an alert when you're eligible to receive a vaccine. Second, you'll be connected to resources to schedule a vaccine appointment. And lastly, you will be notified if there are vaccine opportunities in your area.
Pregnant women are finally being included in research to prevent COVID-19. About 4,000 healthy pregnant women across 9 countries are enrolled in a Pfizer-BioNTech trial. Pfizer officials say the trial will provide data on the safety of the vaccine for pregnant women and their babies. The infants will be monitored until they turn 6 months old. Meanwhile, Pfizer plans to start vaccine studies in children as young as 5 in the coming months. You can stay up on the latest vaccine news on our VNL Vaccine Tracker. Just open your phone camera, point it at the QR code on your screen. Then you can tap the screen or the link, and then it pops up to see all the latest information on the vaccine. We also have the link on our homepage.
Moorhead residents could still see rolling outages over the next couple of days. Public Service says the chance is low, but they want everyone to be prepared. So if they need to initiate rolling blackouts, the first area will be the red zone seen on your screen. The utility will then rotate to the blue zone every 30 minutes. This will continue until they can go back to normal operations. Some conservatives are blaming the environmental movement, insisting that frozen wind turbines show the limits of alternative energy sources. Minnesota energy leaders are debunking those claims, saying the problems in Texas are a failure of planning, not energy resources. Reporter David Schumann explains how Minnesota's system is set up to avoid the same pitfalls.
Texas and Texas alone is bearing the brunt of its energy shortage because it's essentially an energy island.
They've walled off the Texas electric system from the rest of the country.
Minnesota, on the other hand, is part of a much larger electric grid that powers many states. The collaboration allows states to give and take, sharing the load.
So we put all of our resources in the ground with the knowledge and the interconnections into our neighboring states and into this large region.
The second major difference between Minnesota and Texas is our utilities are winterized. Wind turbines have heating packs, pipes are insulated. So Joseph Sullivan with the Minnesota Public Utilities Commission says to point to the Texas calamity as proof of renewable energy's limitations is just not accurate.
Renewables have nothing to do with this. Coal plants have frozen up. Nuclear facilities are not operating in Texas, or some of them aren't operating. Natural gas plants are not operating.
Beth Soholt with the St. Paul nonprofit Clean Grid Alliance says she expects utilities here to add more renewables to their portfolios.
They've learned a lot about how to operate in severe weather conditions with the Minnesota wind farms. The cost of wind and solar have come down dramatically.
Wind energy accounts for more than 20% of the electricity generated in Minnesota, which makes Minnesota a top 10 wind state in the country.
Which takes pressure off of natural gas, which takes pressure off of other resources.
Electricity prices in Minnesota homes are almost exactly average compared to the rest of the country.
Hunters and landowners may soon have a new tool for navigating the hunting season. A bill moving through the North Dakota legislature would make electronic posting a statewide program and provide a penalty for trespassing on electronically posted land. Game and Fish staff say hunters would be responsible for checking online and printing off maps to know where they can and cannot go. The North Dakota House of Representatives passed a bill to keep federal regulations away from North Dakota gun owners. The bill pins North Dakota against the federal government, and citizens may go to prison for it. The bill says any firearm accessory or ammunition manufactured in North Dakota and remains in the state would be subject to federal regulations.
The state Senate also recently passed a human services bill that will eliminate the autism voucher program and reinvest those funds into the Medicaid autism waiver. It allows children who meet the standards for institutional care to utilize state services that allow them to stay home with their families, which DHS leaders say about 96 children are using, and that it will allow them to more quickly serve those on the wait list.
6 Capitol officers have been suspended and 35 are under investigation for their actions during the January riot. Previously, the department said only 10 officers were under investigation and 2 others had been suspended. Authorities haven't said why the officers were disciplined or what disciplinary actions they might face.
More U.S. troops could be headed to Iraq soon. The Defense Department says there's a possibility of sending more troops as part of a newly expanded NATO training mission to support Iraqi forces and make sure that ISIS doesn't rise again. Officials say the NATO mission would increase in size from 500 personnel to about 4,000. There are currently 2,500 U.S. troops in Iraq. These are the first images sent back from the Mars rover Perseverance after landing today. It is considered the most sophisticated rover NASA has sent. The rover landed without help or intervention from NASA teams on Earth. Perseverance has been traveling since the end of July.
Heading to the Fargo Dome on Sunday for the NDSU football game? If so, keep this in mind. Capacity will be at 50%, up to 9,500 fans. Masks are still required at all times except to eat or drink. There is no tailgating. Parking lots will open at 12 o'clock, doors open at 12:30. and you're asked to enter the stadium based on ticket location. Sections 1 through 6 or 24 through 34 should park on the east side, while sections 7 through 23 should park on the west side. We have more details on our website. Click on this story. Now, if you aren't going to the game, but if you want to watch it, then your ticket is right here. You can catch the action on KVLY on Sunday. The Farmers Union Insurance pregame show starts at 1:30, taking you all the way up to kickoff at 2:30.
Still to come tonight, some lucky Powerball ticket holder is a winner, and that ticket was purchased in Fargo. Details to come.
Up next, Hutch is winning these days as he clues you in on the winning numbers in our Friday weather forecast.